praise to the clear nobody else. David Icke makes a lot of good points. And I'm pretty sure the points he's gonna make, you already know this. But for those who are in doubt, that think life is going back to what they would call whatever it was before y'all thought y'all was doing, this is the exact reason why you need to relocate, go to the wilderness, and get away from society. These lockdowns have a deeper meaning than what is actually being exposed. And David Icke has exposed the lockdown.
If you know where it's meant to go, you'll see the stepping stones to it every day. If you don't, everything seems random. So if you know where it's meant to go, you'll see the stepping stones to it every day. If you don't, everything seems random. So if you know the journey is to destroy independent business, then you know that lockdown's coming back because they haven't completed the destruction of it yet.
Before we dive in, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell.
If we look at lockdown, this is a vital area. What I've been saying and writing now for decades is the plan for what I call the Hunger Games Society. And the Hunger Games Society, I called it something else before, but after the Hunger Games movie trilogy came along, I called it the Hunger Games Society because those movies portrayed what this Hunger Games Society I'm talking about plans to be, which is a tiny few people dictating to everyone else via control of finance and via dependency by the population on the few for the very basics of survival. And I've been writing again for a very, very long time that the plan is and has been to destroy independent income and independent business and force the population to live on what I said was going to be called a guaranteed income, which would be a pittance. And you'd only get it if you do what the government wants you to do. Now that sounded fantastic, when I first started talking about it. But this is why lockdown has been instigated, not to protect health, load of nonsense, but to destroy independent business, independent employment, and independent livelihood. Who has benefited from lockdown? Amazon, Facebook, all these major corporations have phenomenally increased their wealth and market share, while genuine entrepreneurs in the small businesses and the medium businesses and even the bigger businesses that are not cult-owned have been sitting in their homes under lockdown. And what they did in this period, it's just ended, we're going to see now the consequences, is when they started locking people down in Britain in the spring of 2020, they knew that this lockdown was going to go on and on and on, but they also knew that if they didn't provide some income for those that were told their work was not essential and therefore couldn't be done, then they were going to get massive pushback right from the start because people were not going to be able to pay their bills and buy food for their families. So they introduced furlough. And furlough was simply, I said it at the time, buying silence and buying time for more and more businesses to be destroyed, more and more employment to be destroyed, independent employment, independent businesses. And eventually I said, what they're going to do is they're going to pull the furlough payment, and then you're going to see the consequences and you're going to see actually what's gone on. And I compared it to a similar situation with Margaret Thatcher and the miners. What Margaret Thatcher did was pay the miners bonus money to produce as much coal as they possibly could. Didn't have to be coal that was needed. Just produce as much coal as you can. And the coal stocks got higher and higher and higher because far more was being produced and was being used. And then what did she do? She started closing the pit. And the miners, she knew, and those controlling her knew, would go on strike. But the lights were not going to go out as they did on the Tet Eve because the stocks were so high. And they went a year, and the stocks still held out, and they had to march back with their heads bowed, and the mining industry was over. This is how this is what the furlough's been about. And what we know is a very simple thing. Know the outcome, you'll see the journey. If you know where it's meant to go, you'll see the stepping stones to it every day. If you don't, everything seems random. So if you know the journey is to destroy independent business and independent employment with those businesses, then you know that lockdown's coming back because they haven't completed the destruction of it yet. And you look at suddenly this crisis in terms of fuel shortages, and yes, because of that, food shortages and other reasons, and all these things that are happening now, they are continuing the impact of lockdown, even though we're not in it, because people are desperately trying to run their businesses and get the work done, but under the problem of distribution and fuel. And I know this from my own books that sent around the world. The container shipping industry, which business, of course, depends upon, is in bloody chaos. And what is happening? Because of it, the prices are going through the roof. The prices of fuel is going up. The price of energy is going up. This is the big squeeze to push people into the lower echelons of the Hunger Games society, so they become dependent on the state, the basics of survival, and dependency equals control. All these things, all these dots connect if you know where we're being taken.
So let me know in the comments, what did you like? What didn't you like? What do you agree with? What